very good evening to one and all gathered here for the 13th NJ Yasaswy Memorial Lecture. I warmly welcome Dr. Ajay Pathak, Senior Director, IBS Kolkata, Dr. Sampreet Chakrabarti, Dean Academics at IBS Kolkata, the keynote speaker for the day, Mr. Srinivas Rao Katkoor, Human Resources Director at the SAS Institute India Private Limited, and the guest of honor for today's evening, Ms Rahmita Parija, HR Head India at Lexmark International Incorporated. All other faculty members, staff members, and my dear students. Thank you for gathering here today as we come together to remember and celebrate the life of someone truly special to all of us, Shri NJ Yasaswy. Today, we gather here with a deep sense of reverence and remembrance to honor the life and legacy of the visionary leader and educationist par excellence and the driving force behind the ICFI group, Shri NJ Yasaswy. Sir was not just a name, but a phenomenon, someone whose ideas, values, and tireless efforts redefined professional education in this country. His absence today is profoundly felt, but his spirit and legacy continue to inspire and guide us. In every corridor of ICFI, in every achievement of its students, and in every milestone of this institution, his presence is alive. He was a man of towering intellect, humility, and compassion, a leader who firmly believed that education is not just about knowledge, but about empowerment, transformation, and the betterment of society. The ICFI group was founded by Shri NJ Yasaswy as the Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India in 1985. ICFI Business School began in 1995 and now operates from 9 campuses in India. Shri Yasaswy passed away on the 8th of October 2011. In his memory, ICFI Business School has instituted the NJ Yasaswy Memorial Lecture to be delivered annually at each ICFI institute. His passing left a void that cannot be filled. Yet, his vision for merit-based, quality education remains a beacon for all of us. Through this memorial lecture, we not only remember him, but also renew our commitment to his ideals, to continue building institutions of excellence that shapes future and serves as a tribute to his life's work. Shri NJ Yasaswy was a visionary, a chartered accountant by training. He pioneered the development of higher education in the private sector while establishing new benchmarks in academic standards. Today, the ICFI family comprises a large network of institutes and universities offering degrees in engineering, law, commerce, computer applications, and business studies. Under Shri Yasaswy's leadership, ICFI Business School was able to develop and offer a modern and relevant academic environment with a strong up-to-date curriculum, a research focus, an active center for production of quality academic materials, including case studies, and highly qualified faculty members. Shri NJ Yasaswy was not just an exceptional academician, but a pioneer who revolutionized professional education in India. His unwavering belief in merit, quality, and innovation paved the way for thousands of students to achieve excellence and contribute meaningfully to the society. Let us open our hearts to the memories that linger, the laughter that echoes, and the lessons that endure. Today, as we navigate the delicate balance between grief and gratitude, let us find strength in our shared remembrance. And may this memorial event be a testament to the enduring legacy of Shri NJ Yasaswy. May I now request our Senior Director, Dr. Ajay Pathak, Dean Academics, Dr. Sampreet Chakrabarti, the keynote speaker for the day, Mr Srinivas Rao Katkoor, and the guest of honor, Ms Rahmita Parija, to kindly come up and take their seats on the dais. And on the way to the dais, may I also request them to offer the floral tributes to Sri NJ Yasaswy. So. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, ma'am. May I now request the President of the Student Council, Diksha Bose, the Vice President of the Student Council, Debadri Dotto, and the Secretary of the Student Council, Sanjay Chakravarti, to offer their tributes to Sri NJ Yasaswy. It's a privilege for me now to introduce the dignitaries to this august audience here. The memorial speaker present with us today is Mr. Srinivas Rao Katkoor, Director Human Resources at the SAS Institute India Private Limited. Earlier, he has also served as a Director Human Resources for SAS South Asia. SAS is the world leader in analytics, business intelligence, and data management software and services. SAS is world's largest privately held software company. Mr. Katkoor has an in-depth experience of 24 plus years in the field of human resources with strong skills on business strategy, people practices, HR technology, HR analytics, and driving the employee engagement and motivation. He is skilled in human capital strategy and management, growth enablement, business revitalization, consulting, organizational design and change, operations, as well as leadership and talent management, plus reward design and optimizing the talent supply chain and service delivery. He has been accountable for policies, programs, and processes that put the employee first to engage, enable, and empower the workforce. Mr. Katkoor has received the HR Leadership Award in the year 2010 from the Employer Branding Institute, Most Influential Tech Leaders Award in the year 2015 and 16 from the World HRD Congress, Top HR Minds Award in the year 2018 from CHRO Asia for his leadership in human resources, and the HR Strategist Award in 2020, and has also received the Visionary HR Leadership Award in the year 2024. We welcome you once again, sir, and thank you for taking time out this evening for all of us. The guest of honor today is Ms. Rahmita Parija. Ms. Parija currently heads the HR function for Lexmark International, and she's been there since the last 8 years and is responsible for driving the people agenda. Ms. Parija is an HR thought leader and a strategic thinker with 20 plus years of experience across the US, UK, and India, possessing strong leadership building skills to create business partnerships, trust, and a positive work environment. She has partnered with businesses to execute vision and strategy and realize cost savings and profitability. Her focus has been on creating an employee experience where work is meaningful and people have their voice heard. Through her professional training and experience, emotional intelligence to understand all perspectives, ability to be an empathetic listener, and a great sounding board, it has enabled her to be a true business advocate. She's holding a degree in Strategic Human Resources Management from the Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, a degree in Executive Coaching from the Henley Business School, University of Reading, United Kingdom, and she is extensively involved in executive coaching as well as a freelancer in the UK. Coaching and mentoring women leaders in the mid-career journey is her passion. Thank you so much, ma'am, for gracing the occasion with your presence. May I now request our student, Yash Sultania, to kindly come forward and felicitate and hand over the bouquet of flowers to Mr. Srinivas Rao Katkoor. May I now request our student, Tapasya Chakraborty, to please come forward and hand over the bouquet to Ms Rahmita Parija. And may I request now our student, Madhur Agarwal, to hand over the bouquet to our Senior Director, Sir, Dr. Ajay Pathak. I would now request our respected Senior Director, Sir, Dr. Ajay Pathak, to kindly come forward and address the gallery. Sir.
Mr Srinivas Rao Katkoor, Human Resources Director, SAS India. Our keynote speaker, Ms Rahmita Parija, HR Head India Lexmark International, guest of honor, faculty, staff members, students, and alumni members. I, on behalf of ICFI Business School, welcome you all to this 13th NJ Yasaswy Memorial Lecture. We have got interesting speakers who are coming after me, and we would love to listen to them. It was on 8th October 2011, I get a message from Hyderabad that Mr. NJ Yasaswy is no more with us. A shocking message, and I didn't know how to take this message. And we were told to come to Hyderabad for his cremation. He was fine. I remember somewhere around 13th September when he was attending a meeting in 2011. He said, I have got a headache. I would like to visit a doctor. He visited the doctor. Ultimately, he was admitted in nursing home. And within, he had brain hemorrhage and he passed away on 8th October 2011. He was known as, his full name, most of the officers do not know, Nanduri Jyoti Raja Lakshmi Yasaswy. Then he was normally referred as NJY. Now I asked one person as to why you are referring as NJY, why not the full name? Well, I cannot pronounce his name. And I don't know anybody whose name is Yasaswy except a cricketer, Yasaswy Jaiswal. So, this feeling where we could call him as NJY was something, a feeling which we have, and we wanted always to be closer to him, to get some thoughts, whatever he is trying to deliver. He was one person who always used to believe in time. I remember we had a meeting in Hyderabad, and he used to enter always at the right time. If the meeting starts at 9 AM, you enter at 8:58. He understood the value of time. And one day he entered, the clock was showing 2 minutes past 9. He said, please check your clock. It is 2 minutes past. And until this was not moved to 9, just at 12, so he didn't start the meeting. He first changed the clock. This is what the importance of time is. Students, the message is for you. You must understand what is the value of time. He was a topper in BCom, gold medalist in BCom, gold medalist in chartered accountancy, gold medalist in cost accountancy. His concepts were absolutely clear, and his thought process was something beyond us. We could not fathom as to why is he saying like that. So he brought this concept of case studies. And these case studies are an important part of IBS now, and we are the second largest contributor of case studies after Harvard Business School. Round of applause for IBS. He was attending a conference where the budget speech was going on. And he was listening ardently to whatever the speaker was saying. Then he started talking about the budget, and everybody was amazed. In fact, in one of the conferences where Palkiwala was, I remember, in 1972, he was presenting, the analysis of the budget. After his talk, NJ Yasaswy went to him and started discussing about the budget. And it was time for Mr. Palkiwala to listen to him. And at that point of time, he was only 22 years old. His concept, his thought process on knowledge about Companies Act, income tax was something which you cannot feel that yes, this person has got too much of knowledge. And he's written several books all across. He left for USA for doing his PhD. But he decided to come back within 2 weeks. Normally when we go, we think that we will go for PhD, but ultimately he was a person, he said, no, whatever they are teaching, I know. He said, I've got better things to do. And he came back to India. And he was a person who was willing to take risk. A risk where no educationist will go. In 1995, when we started these PGBM campuses, we started with 6 campuses. And slowly developed into several campuses. Now we have 9 campuses of IBS. We have got 12 universities. And out of that, he established 5 in Northeast. So I was wondering as to why he wants to set up so many universities in Northeast. He said, somebody told me that he met Mr. Abdul Kalam on a flight, and he said, why don't you do something about Northeast? Because this is an area which is ignored totally. So he set up universities in Tripura, in Meghalaya, Nagaland, Sikkim, and Mizoram. You always used to think that yes, I should do something for the students, for students particularly in the rural semi-urban areas. We have now a lot of students coming from rural and semi-urban areas, and he always used to say that we should work on the students and bring them to the main life, so that they also do well. And this is a great example that IBS is now going into the interiors and getting students, and we believe now that each and every student is a placeable student, and this student will ultimately do well in life. And examples are there in front of me. Students who were not very good, but they have ultimately come up to our expectations, and they're all placed, doing very well. Mr. Yasaswy was appointed as the government of Andhra Pradesh as chairman by the government of Andhra Pradesh State Trading Corporation during 85-88, vice chairman Public Enterprise Board 1986-88. He was a member of the SEBI committee on accounting standards and also a member of the board of directors of Association of Certified International Investment Analysis Switzerland. He had a rare quality to inspire students to have a vision and work towards the same. He was an outstanding debater in English and Telugu. He always used to say that you must do your PhD. In fact, when I met him in 2001 and subsequently, he told me, Ajay, you must go for your PhD. I said, sir, why do PhD at this stage? He said, no, you must do your PhD. And he wanted me to do a PhD. So I went back to my alma mater, IIT Kharagpur, and did my PhD. And I was the youngest grandfather doing PhD at IIT Kharagpur. At the age of 58, I completed my PhD. So, the message which I am giving to the students is, see, there is no end to learning. You can learn at every stage. I am still learning. I learn from my students, my faculty members. Always remember one thing in life: if you learn on a regular basis, and if you do that continuously, your life is going to change. I can assure you that. And the concentration, if you want to do, I always say that you must focus on your health. And these are the two important things I would like to communicate to you. When he was interviewing me in 2001, he said one thing which I still remember, that we want a person who will be non-academic. Then I couldn't understand the meaning as to why, and I'm a faculty, I should be an academic person. So he wanted people who are good in academics, but at the same time, they would be good in administration also. And they wanted faculty members who can be there in the administration of academics. And that's what he wanted, that yes, we should be like that. And in last 20 years, I have seen a lot of faculty members becoming associate dean, dean, director, etc., etc. So leadership has to come to you if you are in academics, and this is only possible with your strong will, and ultimately you will be able to become a leader in education. I can continue to speak about NJY endlessly, but since the time is limited, I will not come, before Mr. Katkoor and Parija out here. And I would like to thank you for giving me a patient hearing. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. We live in a VUCA world, a world that is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. An era where disruptions, whether they arise from global pandemics, economic instability, technological evolution, or even personal challenges, are no longer the exception but the norm. The question that stands before us is, how do we navigate these storms with resilience, clarity, and a sense of purpose? Leadership during times of uncertainty is not just about survival, it's about transformation, about turning challenges into opportunities, and about inspiring those around us to rise above adversity. Today, we will try and explore the strategies, mindsets, and the skills required to lead effectively amidst crisis, whether it's in the organizations, communities, or even in our personal lives. Leading in the crisis, how to manage uncertainty and change, is definitely a thought-provoking subject. And who else is better but to guide us on the subject than the guest of honor today? So may I please request Ms Rahmita Parija to kindly address the students and all of us on leading in crisis, how to manage uncertainty and change. Ma'am.
Firstly, I would start by saying good evening to everyone. I hope you're all in the room. Yeah, so I'm used to having a bunch of people who are partly in the room and partly elsewhere. Either a movie is going on, or a Netflix is going on, or something else is going on. Yeah, so we are used to having this divided attention. So I hope all of you are here in the room, and I'm privileged and it's an honor to be here today, to be participating in the memorial lecture. It came as a surprise, and I'll be honest about it, saying that a couple of days ago when I was contacted for this. But it's definitely a pleasure to be here, to be amongst all of you and the faculty and esteemed guests here. So I think so put it very nicely in saying the VUCA world. Aware of the word VUCA, I guess? Most of us are, yeah. Without getting back into VUCA and what that is, because I'm not going to bore you with a lecture that boring, so I'm going to start with a small thing, saying that, in 1982, when Johnson & Johnson, everybody knows, right? So Johnson & Johnson, and I take it from the fact because Dr. Patil talked about that you're the second most case study based institute, so I think that's where I'm taking this cue from. Saying in 1982, Johnson & Johnson had a well-known drug called Tylenol, which is the same as your any acetaminophen, right? So it's like your paracetamol or whatever you want to call it. So you may be aware of this one, saying that they were informed by a reporter that there have been some unfortunate fatal deaths because of consumption of Tylenol. This is 1982. A reporter calls in to the media director to ask for comments. The media director has no clue in the world as to what he's talking about, because he's not heard this so far. They go back to the market to understand what's going on. Unfortunately, a few of maybe 30 million of the boxes, some of the boxes of Tylenol had been laced with cyanide-based capsules, which had led to deaths of innocent people who had been given out these medicines. They had to respond back absolutely immediately. They had no time to think back and say, okay, what is the strategy that we'll do and how do we? They had just two questions in front of them in that particular time frame. How do I make sure that there are no more fatalities happening? How do I make sure that to save my product as well? Because they don't want to lose the brand of Johnson & Johnson as well as Tylenol, which is a well-known brand by that time. It still exists. So that is the level of uncertainty. And then what best to talk about, saying that we've all gone through the pandemic. Yeah, so we've all seen the days of pandemic and how it all panned out. Did we know what we were getting ourselves into? Did we have any idea whether we will survive to see the other side of the pandemic? And I'll tell you a little story around that. So I think 1st of March is, as an organization, we were still kind of getting the data inputs in terms of what this is, because we have a big counterpart of us in China as well. And there were people who had been traveling to China and who had been coming back, etc. So we had been talking to them and figuring out what is that we should be doing. So we started by looking at our regular corporate level. We'll talk about our BCP, we'll talk about what should we do, what are the various actions that we should be doing and things like that. So this is, we are talking about still the business continuity plan. And on 15th of March is when we are getting together as a team, the entire leadership team of Lexmark, which is in Kolkata, the India headquarters, and deciding what is it that we're going to be doing. Okay, fine. As part of our BCP, we said, okay, let's make sure that everybody has a laptop. Luckily for us, everybody has a laptop, so that's not a big challenge. But making sure that everybody has connectivity. Because laptop is one part of it, but making sure everybody has connectivity is another story altogether. But come what may, it was on 18th of March that we made a decision. Safety is important and first. Delivery will continue to happen. And as a site, as an India site, we made a decision that we will stop coming to work. We will all work from home. This was well before any of the organizations or even India government had actually made that decision. But that decision had to be made then and there. It was as quick as that. Yeah, so that's what we talk about when we talk about leading in the times of crisis. Why am I telling you these stories? You're all going to be finishing off your management education, leading up to becoming leaders, managers in the respective organization. I think it's about making sure that when you get such an occasion, how do you turn it into an opportunity? An opportunity of learning, an opportunity in which you will be able to, show up as a leader, show up for your people. A lot of people may remember that during the time of COVID as well, we had Jacinta Ardern, who was the New Zealand Prime Minister. She was there, she was standing up, and she was talking to people. She had put action plans into place. Why do people remember her? Because she was out there with the people and standing with them and understanding what needs to be done to make sure that the people feel comfortable. That's what we're talking about leading in crisis. Making sure that you're available, making sure that you're communicating clearly, making sure that you stand by your people. So as leaders, when you get to that world out there, I think it's important that you understand, because your your generation, I think, is the one generation which is going to get yourself loose in the most uncertain world, in the most volatile, uncertain, ambiguous world that you're getting yourself into. Job market scene, we have all known and we've all seen how it is working out. We have seen how the world is responding, and the various things, the various wars that are happening, and various things, how governments are responding, how companies are responding. Yeah, the layoffs are real, which was not so maybe 5 years down the line ago, or maybe 10 years down ago. But today, that's all real, and that's all real conversation that's happening. So hence, it is very important that you understand that you are going to be out there in a world which is not known, in a territory which is not known. It's not something which you're going to be aware of most of the time. How do you make decisions in those times when you're not aware of what is at stake? What are the various, what are the various things that I need to take into account? What are my data points based on which I'm going to make a decision? Yeah, so that's what we are going to be. I'm going to take a little time and elaborate a little more around that. So suppose, I think I've given you a couple of examples already, and you already know how Zoom kind of made sure that it scaled up overnight almost. Yeah, how Netflix came into being. I think most of you, if you're reading books and if you're reading your case studies, you know the whole Netflix story, how they kind of made sure that they don't die down, the blockbuster doesn't die down, and Netflix came into existence. So it's very important for us as leaders to make sure that we are aware, we are present, we be there to be part of this change. And that's what will be your legacy. That's what people will remember you by. What's the legacy that you're leaving behind as when you're leading in this uncertain world? So some of the tools, I think I'm not going to give you a big lecture around it, but some of the tools that you can obviously look at, I'm sure you all are aware of SWOT analysis. Well known, yeah, nothing new that I'm talking about here. I think the others are McKinsey's 3 horizons, which is respond, recover, and reimagine. Those are the 3 things. Sometimes we also look at very simple, I would say, scenario planning. Just understand what your scenario is. Understand what is the best, what is the worst that can happen in that scenario. And based on that, you make a decision. But it's important to look at data points. That is very, very important in this world that we are in. So it's very important, as I keep saying, that why is it important for us to be aware, and why am I talking about it? Because you are going to be in this world, and you are the same managers and leaders that we will all be having in our organizations. So if you're well equipped to manage that, I think that's what will be beneficial for each one of you, as well as making sure that the corporates are also benefited by that. I think I'll leave with a small saying, and Simon Sinek, known name. A lot of people are reading him, I guess. Yeah. So he said, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those who are in charge. Those are in your charge. So you're going to be that person. You are going to be that leader who's going to take charge. So if you know what you're getting yourself into, you know how to take charge in that case. All right. Thank you so much.
So stand by your people is what the bottom line is. Make yourself available, communicate, and you got to make the decisions in the times of uncertainty with the data points, with doing the scenario planning well, and of course, as ma'am said, SWOT analysis, of course, the most important thing out there. So thank you so much, ma'am, for your words of wisdom. I'm sure that the students had a lot to take in. And now it's time to move on to the memorial speech for the evening. And before Sir takes over, a small thought on today's topic. So in today's fast-paced world, the corporate landscape is ever evolving. The jobs of yesterday are transforming, new roles are emerging, and the skills required to succeed are shifting rapidly. This makes it essential for all of us, and especially the students, all of you, who are about to step into the professional world, into the corporate world, to understand the career opportunities that are available and the competencies needed to thrive in the renewed corporate environment. Building a successful career is no longer just about academic degrees. It's also about developing the right mix of skills, attitude, and adaptability to match the expectations of modern businesses. From communication and critical thinking to leadership, teamwork, and digital proficiency, the competencies required today are both diverse and dynamic. And that's what the topic for the evening reads: career options and competencies required for corporate jobs. May I now request Mr. Srinivas Rao Katkoor, the memorial speaker for the evening, to kindly come forward and address the memorial speech for the evening to the audience. Sir.
Good evening, everyone. I think I can see a bigger challenge for me to engage you for the next 30 minutes because you had a heavy evening snacks. I can see some of you guys are already into a dosing mode. I'll try my best to keep you engaged, to ensure that you hear me as much as possible. So thanks a lot to the management committee and managers for inviting me, and thanks a lot to you all guys for showing your interest being a part of this presentation. Today I'm going to discuss something about bridging gap, which is preparing for your future. I'm trying to make some of the areas which is every one of you know, but maybe it could be a kind of revisiting on those areas from a corporate perspective, how we look at all those areas and how exactly you are it. In general, I like one mantra for any success, which is basically with all you teach with your young generation. I have a 19 years old son. He talks all those Gen Z language, millennials language, which I don't even understand. Most of the times he's on Twitter, Instagram, X, and all those stuff. So I picked up some of the things which are actually needed for you all guys to be successful. The first and important thing is your browsing habits. If you look at today, whatever you browse, whatever you speak, whatever you do, that's what been again and again and again displayed on your Instagram or Facebook or even your Twitter or anything. I know a lot of kids or a lot of students have been meeting and interacting. Most of the times, what kind of things you browse? When I open it there, I'll ask them to, with a curiosity, show them what they do on X or Facebook or Instagram. I see things like who has divorced with whom, which Bollywood actor is getting how much of remuneration, what's happening, and all those stuff. The reason why I'm trying to tell you is this is not going to help you from any perspective. Like ma'am has told about Simon Sinek. I don't know how many of you guys are really following him. But there are a lot of leaders, thought leaders, could be an Indian thought leaders or international thought leaders. Each and everyone comes up with some kind of information which will actually make a big difference in your life. But our browsing habits has to change. If you want to change yourself, you have to change your browsing habits because internet and the information is what actually driving our future. It's not anyone. So first important thing, change your browsing habits. Second thing is own your failure and success as your owner. Don't always take success as yours and failures as others. If you start taking both success and failures as your own, then I'm telling you, you'll thrive to the next level very easily. Third and important thing is plan your future. I know there are kids in some schools at 8th class or 7th class, they know what they want to do in life. And there are some kids even at MBA, after taking finance or HR, and marketing, they don't know what they want to do. So please plan your future at a stage where you can actually drive your entire academic exercise, academic future based on it. And the last and important thing, which is the SAS keyword, called curiosity forever. You need to be curious to learn, you need to be curious to understand, you need to be curious to know, you need to be curious to do something. Sir has told about Dr. NJ Yasaswy. He's always curious. He always taking a challenges and risk in his life. That's what actually makes us to the next level. Today, the world is going towards entrepreneurship. The world is going towards making something of your own. So please be curious and do a thing. So I have one quote always I tell that, plan your future with intention and let curiosity guide forever. If you have that intention to have curiosity, you can always take your life to the next level. With that note, I will start something, a bit of confusion what people talk about. Yeah, I've been doing an engineering, MBA, these, that. Do we really have a market? What's the economic growth of India? Is there a future in India? Is there a market which is going to offer a placements or jobs or anything in future? I just want to give some figures about it. IMF actually raised our GDP growth to 6.8% it forecast GDP growth at 6.5% for 25-26. Obviously, there is a changes happened in last quarter because of our overall spending and other stuff. Otherwise, the 6.5% GDP growth. And also, United Nations projected Indian economy to grow at 6.9% in 2024 and 6.6% in 2025. RBI GDP has expected growth of 7%. She's talking about much less now due to some of the reasons. And also, Moody's has projected 7.2, CRISIL has projected 6.8, and Asian Development Bank has projected 6.5. Imagine a country which is growing at 6.6% of growth. What is the growth opportunities, what is the job opportunities you have in future? There's a huge market here, but what required for you to grab that market is what we're going to discuss today. What actually driving economic growth? Obviously, the strong domestic demand. There's a lot of robust investment activities happening. A lot of people from across the globe is investing in India. Like a lot of inflation modernization has been happening. Manufacturing is being become a very strong focus area for government in India now, and also supply chain is picking up a very fast in India. So we look at these all things, not only sectors like IT, but sectors like manufacturing, sectors like pharma, sectors like wind power, sectors like solar energy. All these sectors are picking up, and professionals like you all is required. I'm telling you, I'm honest, please excuse me, once we cross our 45, people are not looking at us today. It's very tough to find a job for us. If I leave today, sir, I don't know, maybe I'll get a job tomorrow or not, though I might be any kind of competencies, because world needs a talent, young talent like you all, because you have a passion, you have innovative, you have a different thinking, and you can also do an out-of-box thinking. So grab that opportunity to get a placement and market this thing. So if you look at the job market trends in India from 2023 to 25, expected to grow 10 to 12% in the year 2025-26. 10 to 12% job market growth in India, that's what the expectation is. Second thing is 15 to 20% hiring demands is going to expect, then especially into IT, healthcare and e-commerce sector. IT, healthcare, e-commerce is going to boom like anything. Almost 15 to 20% of extra jobs are going to open up in 2025-2026. Also the salary growth. Practically a double-digit salary growth is what expected in 25-26. Only market in the world is the Indian market where most of the agencies are talking about high salary growth due to the way the market is growing in a second level. Then the skill developments are continuously going on. A lot of companies are focusing, a lot of colleges and universities are focusing on developing skills for the individuals to take them to the market ready. So let me get to directly to pay. I just want to give these figures to you because how the markets is paying. Tier 1 cities at an average, Delhi, Bombay, Hyderabad are offering competitive salaries. Tier 2 cities are offering a decent salaries, and Tier 3 cities are offering salaries which is equal to these things. So the salary market is basically in India growing at a pace of based on the city compensation index and also the salary required for that particular market based on the cost and other stuff. Then there are 5 fastest growing sectors we are talking about in 2025. One is e-commerce and retail. Second is information technology and software services. Third is healthcare and pharmaceuticals. Fourth is renewable energy. And fifth is a fintech. And most of you guys are into fintech kind of background. It's growing very, very fast in India. So these are the 5 sectors which there a lot of market is going to get to the next level. And if you look at the industry-wise career options, healthcare, e-commerce, technology, food and beverage, hospitality, media, banking and finance and marketing are the sectors which is growing very, very fast, and there's a lot of opportunities coming up from that perspective. And the emerging job roles basically into data analytics, digital marketing, sustainability and innovation are the areas where there are a lot of opportunities coming up from 25 to 28, which is the market feedback which is coming up there. Now comes to challenges of job readiness. The most important thing is employment challenges. Most of the colleges, or a lot of colleges actually building a lot of these professionals out in the market. But are they employable? Are they job ready? It's not only from the perspective of them clearing the interview, but also from the perspective of is our curriculum, is our courses, is our skills, or is our competencies which we are developing on a day-to-day basis is actually matching to what corporates are looking at. If not, what exactly the areas we need to look at? What are the things which we need to focus on? Second thing is a lot of global crunch, market crunch. So India is really making up a lot in that particular area. But there is also a lot of opportunities across the world, not only in India, but a lot of opportunities emerging across the world. Are we a market ready as a students, as a fresh graduates, as in students who are doing a master's or post-graduation? Third is only 45% of Indians, if the analysis happened, which matches to the corporate requirements. If I look at from the outside market, if I try to hire the people, you believe me or not, for 12 positions of interns last year, I looked at 1200 candidates. First is the number of profiles coming up is huge. Second thing is I'm unable to even close 12 people out of 120 people who are actually interviewed. Why? Because clearly there is some disconnect between what we as a corporate expecting vis-a-vis to what kids are being coming out of to the market. And the last and important thing is flexibility and mobility. A lot of fresh grads has a constraint that they want to be in their hometowns. They don't want to move out of the home. Obviously the comfort zone, parents, family, relations and other things. So we also bothered from a corporate perspective hiring someone from other parts of the city to hire in our company. Plus also a lot of times we give offers, but they don't join because I got something better in my own city, maybe the less salary, but I'm going to stay in my own city. So the mobility is one of the biggest factors which we are facing while hiring students from different markets. So what we need or what we look at when I'm hiring people is typically a couple of attributes. Like personal attributes are like every student, when we are talking about the first skill, we should look at the problem solving skills. Whether they have those skills in terms of thinking out of box, innovative, or trying to make something different to us. Second important thing is organizing. Like sir told about time management. I am telling you, I have 36 interns in my organization. 80% of them, when I tell that 11 o'clock is a meeting, 80% of them actually gets up from their seat at 11 o'clock and reach to the place of the meeting at 11:05. They don't understand the importance. And actually the speaker is actually going to use 5 minutes ahead before the meeting time. And he's waiting, the poor guy is waiting at a senior level and other guys are still coming. Because of only one thing, is the importance of time is not being understood. And this matters a lot. Second important thing is change and adaptability. I used to do in my college the time I want to do. I can do my project work at 12 o'clock in the night or 1 o'clock in the night, or I'll do last minute before 5 minutes submission. I know my son has to submit a project work at 12 o'clock in the night. He finishes only at before 5 to 12. He waits till 5 to 12. Because chalta hai. Manage ho jata hai. Figure out ho jata hai. That is what actually creating a huge problem in terms of change adaptability. Because in a corporate world, there is something which like continuous cycle. We keep on expecting things to happen on a continuous basis. And lot of times after 6 o'clock, I know a couple of my interns or even my fresh grads who are in my college office, they don't answer after 6 o'clock. If I message them, the reply of message comes at 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm not expecting them to work after 6 o'clock. No, that's not my culture. But urgency is there, a customer requirement is there. And sometimes we have the service-oriented sector also. Sometimes we need also customer reactiveness. If suppose a bank data has been stopped at before 31st December or 31st March or quarter ending, I am responsible as an organization. Then the people who are in the ecosystem are equally responsible. But I face so many challenges. No one should talk loudly with them, no one should order them, no one should do a lot. This is what the change you need to adopt, because we are going to work with someone. They have their own urgencies, importance, and we also have our own urgencies. Adopting to these cultural changes are very, very crucial to be successful in the career. Third important thing is communication and relationships. Managing the relationship at all levels is very, very crucial. That's where the curiosity forever comes into picture. If you sit and talk with the senior management, if you take and talk with a different set of people, if you sit and talk with a finance guy, HR guy, marketing guy, you have a lot of things to learn at a young age of your career. But no, I have to do my technology job, I'll only deal with the technology guys. So being into that industry, you need to be very clear about to whom and what exactly you need to continuously do. And fourth and the biggest important thing is communication. A lot of times I saw in Gen Z, millennials and these fresh graduates is they expect that we understand them automatically. And the answers are yes, no, figure out ho jayega, good, bad, only single line answers. I fail to understand what happens if you give an answer in 2 lines. At least make me understand exactly what are your intentions. A lot of times we don't understand. When we tell something, you understood, yes. And after half an hour they come back and tell us what we should do. So I think the communication is a very key, interpersonal communication is very key, and also understands exactly what our organization or leaders are expecting is very, very important. You know, one survey which has happened, 1.5 hour is a maximum period, or 24 months is a maximum period. A fresh graduate, 80% of fresh graduates leave their job to the new job. 18 to 24 months. Because one, they want to grow very fast. Second thing, they don't want to do the monotony. Obviously, monotony is not good. And third and the most important thing is they want to do the things in their own way. That's the reason a lot of corporates still thinks that how to balance it. So we spend a lot of money. People like MAMS will help us out in terms of coaching students, conducting a lot of classes, lectures, skill-enabled programs, and competency development and all those things. For you all guys, it looks very easy. Finding a job may be easy, but sustaining in a job from a long-term perspective in any corporate is not so easy, because you need to change yourself 360 degrees. From a student who has been pampered at home, whose lecturers or faculties are completely bearing with our own tantrums, to a corporate world where everything goes like a clock. You have to work with that clock. So that's a very, very crucial thing in that particular way. And also, every one of you, or everyone with whatever the background we are at, we need to have been knowledge on technology space. Technology is a very, very crucial today. And all of us, even in finance, marketing, HR, anywhere, technology plays a very, very crucial role. So have a touch towards the technology, kind of some awareness towards it. I'm not asking you to get into programming or something, but it is a basic technology. Understanding and know-how is very, very good, important, because most of us are going to work in different tools, though we are not in the part of digitization or technology area. And the last and the most important thing is having those leadership skills in terms of driving yourself as a part of the bigger, larger team and trying to play a role of being a leader. So long-term perspective, you need to focus from that perspective. So that's what is this thing, but as an organization, what I look at when an individual joins me is an accountability of an individual, integrity, then their dedication toward work, and also their curiosity to continuously develop and improve themselves. If you show these abilities on a continuous basis, you will be the guys who will be hired and will have a long-term sustainability in the organization. So this, I know most of you guys knows what exactly it is and how it is, but in a nutshell, I would like to tell you very simple thing is finding a job may not be the very tough. Sustaining in a job is going to be a very tough task, because the world is changing so fast. We don't want mediocres, we really want leaders who can actually make a change. With that note, any questions? If you don't have questions, I think two things. Either I'm not very good at what I told, or I am very good at what I told. Sure? Please.
Thank you so much for your words of wisdom. I think huge takeaway for our students. In terms of being flexible and mobile, 45% of the corporate requirements is what is matching, and the remainder is still unmatched, and therefore lies a huge opportunity out there for our students in place. And if you could pull us across with the skills that you have mentioned, majorly about the problem-solving skills, it's what I could pick up, and I'm pretty sure the students have understood that well. And it's just not about getting the job, but about sustaining it in the long run. And That's what, dear students, you have to adapt in due course of time. And change management, therefore, is very, very important, as sir has already mentioned. Technology skills need to be geared up. Leadership skills, I think both ma'am and sir during their speeches have spoken a lot on that. And last but not the least, it's about the time management in place. So honor your time, honor the time of your clients, of your peers, seniors, and juniors. So those were the major takeaways, but I'm pretty sure that you've been patient listeners, and there must be a lot of questions bubbling up amidst all of you. So maybe we leave the floor open to the question and answers now. So any questions from the audience for our panel members out here? Yes, Kumar, I see your hand up. Please.
Sir, what should be our browsing habit?
So I think when you have a clear plan of what you want to do in your future, like example, why madam would be browsing about Simon Sinek example, or why I would be browsing about someone as a thought leader. Basically that there are a lot of things which I can learn out of it, and their blogs or their write-ups or their examples can actually click us to ensure that we can sustain and we can also be competent enough when we are talking with the potential students or in a corporate world and everything. In the same way, your browsing habits should actually relate more to what exactly you would like to do from that perspective. Second thing, your browsing habits sometimes create a positive mindset if you are browsing the right things, sometimes create a negative mindset if you are browsing the things which are irrelevant to you from a long-term perspective. Please.
Thank you. I think, I was very think that I need to take up this question as well and add a few things to what Mr. Srinivas already mentioned. What is it that you want to remember yourself as? What do you want to leave yourself? So when you're having a conversation, like tomorrow you're going to pass out of this university, you're going to go into the real world, and having a conversation with your seniors, with your juniors, with peers. So you need to have a breadth of information that you need to be having a conversation. So that's what your browsing habit is all about. What do you want to build upon? Just think about that, and that's what you'll build upon. So I think that's a good question and something which is very relevant to all of you.
Also, a lot of times when you're in a public speaking, you see only 2 or 3 will be very active in communicating. Remaining all 7 are almost like an audience. The reason is that actually it's not that they're not good at communication, but it's that they don't have a knowledge on that particular subject. Imagine if you have a knowledge on that particular subject, you'll be the greatest communicator even though you don't have that habit of communicating a lot, but you know the subject. So browsing habits actually enables you to gain confidence on the subject.
Thank you. Yes. Any other questions? Yeah, sure, sir.
No, it's not a question. Because in the mic is listening.
It's not a question per se. I was listening to both of you actually when you said, about the Gen Z and the millennials and all these things. We have been teaching, and our students have been looking at our students also. What I could realize is like, there's a kind of a change which has happened over the years. And there's something like which is now they want is something which is an instantaneous realization. Something which has to happen now, and probably wait and watch, and then probably wait for the things to happen. They do not actually have the time to do that. It's like every time they would be like, okay, instantaneously I will be getting this thing or that thing. So that is there. The second is in terms of, you have been talking about, the kind of I would say the concentration that you need to have, that has come to very, very minimal. And I was listening to one of the lectures in one of the conferences, and the speaker said, and to my surprise, I would say, the speaker asked us that how many times that you think a person actually looks at his or her mobile during a day. So people came out with the answers like maybe 200 times. You said, no, you can be better, you can do better than that. So ultimately when you reveal it, it's a staggering 2 to 7, 8 times. So that's how that you actually look at. And this is, if you look at your mobile more than 2,000 times a day, the time of concentration that we are talking about, you can always imagine. And that is basically what is happening. And it's happening probably, yes, technology has got a lot of positives. We would be with the technology definitely. But then the human side of it has to also be with it. Otherwise, we would be all actually ending up in huge problems later on.
There is an average survey which has happened from a browsing perspective. An average millennial as Gen Z watch around 2 hours to 3 hours 20 minutes every day. Browsing could be Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, or whatever it is. 2 hours, that's almost around 190 minutes to 230 minutes in a day. Imagine that much of amount we spend on external world.
Very good evening to all of you. I mean, since we have two HR leaders with us, I just can't, help but ask these questions. Our founder was very fond of somebody called Gary Hamel. If you look into ICFI halls, you will find every ICFI business school has got one Gary Hamel room. Now, Gary Hamel, since 1990s until now, he was talking about that obedience should not be given importance in organization, because obedience does not add anything. It's all passion. So therefore, absolutely, the hierarchy-less organization. So what is your take on? There are many examples in different sectors. We have examples in FMCG, companies like Morningstar, in heavy industries. That organization where employees decide their salary, an organization where nobody can fire. It's a group of people who will fire. It's a group of people who will hire. So that things are becoming very common in some of the developed world. But when we look into Indian context, still obedience is one of the most important parameter. So what is your take on? I mean, do you think, because recent study indicates that only passion generates exceptional innovation. So two HR leaders, I'm very, very curious to know that whether it is excellence or obedience, which matters.
You're right, obedience, I even don't agree with the word obedience, but I agree with the word called integrity. It goes with an obedience. Integrity is something where we expect an individual who is working with us to show that kind of curiosity, passion, and try to deliver things with complete integrity. It could be a time management integrity, it could be working along with the people and being a part of that group and everything. So obedience does not matter, and there is no one is obedient. Even my own son is not obedient to me nowadays, so I can't expect an obedience from my team at all. But yeah, integrity is very, very crucial, and as you told, curiosity is again one of the factors. With an integrity, if you have curiosity to do something better, and if you have that curiosity forever, it makes a huge difference.
I think adding on to what Mr Srinivas said, if I take the example of my own company, which is a R&D company, which is hardcore technology R&D company. Now, if we talk about obedience, I'm talking from, I take integrity and I say it also with accountability, because that's what matters. So when we don't expect, we have fresh graduates who come into our organization, and in meetings, they're actually encouraged to ask questions if they do not agree with what is actually being suggested as a solution. And that is something which is widely encouraged, and it's a Lexmark culture. It's almost like a DNA. So accountability and is something that we also consider as one of our values within Lexmark. So that's something like I can take a little example that a couple of years ago we had hired a fresher from right out of college, engineering graduate, and he comes into me, so I said, okay fine, how's it going and things like that. So it's like a couple of months into the workplace, 6 months into the workplace. So all that is okay, but because we're an R&D company and we've been in existence for 30 plus years, there are a lot of people in our company who are like 20 years plus experience. That's what R&D is all about, right? So he said, I don't know how am I supposed to ask a question or understand something if I'm unable to understand. And I was really, really thinking about it, saying that I thought that when we get into meetings, we have such an open culture that you can go back and ask any questions that you want, anything that you think is, maybe you have a better solution. So I went back and said that, do you ever feel that anybody has actually told you anything, or maybe body language has been such that you felt this? I said, no ma'am, I actually get that openness, saying that people say that you can ask questions, but I'm not used to this, so I don't know how to ask a question. So I think it took him 6 months to 8 months to get to a position where he could be comfortable asking a question of someone who has 20 plus years of experience. So we have people with 30 plus years of experience as well. So that's where it went to. But we say that it comes with accountability. So it is not independent of that.
Beautifully said, ma'am. What I was just one more question. I know, conversation is about to be. Just the question is, if you look into Indian culture, we have been taught in our class, faculty is always correct. His lecture is, the sermon from the mount, and in organization, bosses are correct. So hierarchical culture, which has been prevailing for 2,500 years. So you being a multinational company, you have seen, the European businesses, the American businesses. So what is your take on, this, I could understand, both of you tried to say that, you are absolutely okay to disagree, but fall in line when decision is being taken. That's fine. But is there any difference in Indian business psyche, Indian people's psyche, even in multinational organization, and the American counterpart or European counterpart in your case? That's precisely my question is all about.
Okay.
I think you are right. If you look at an Indian multinationals started by an Indian entrepreneur and also Indian companies which is based out of India, you have that cultural boss is always right. But when you look at the typical multinational companies operated out of US or Germany or UK or anything, boss is most of the times not right actually. Nowadays the world has changed, where actually kids are actually questioning us on the decisions and every other stuff. So the culture is changing. I cannot tell that it's changed or not. Still it's changing. But I think within last 24 years of my experience, I saw almost 70 to 80% of companies are actually giving a lot of priority to the openness, openness to communicate, openness to question, openness to challenge. And those are the people actually being hired in the market today. If you typically look at any of these strong professionals, the kind of questions they ask, the kind of challenges they put in front of you, it's amazing. And it creates a lot of harmony within the business, and we are encouraging that a lot.
So I think I'll take it. You asked about comparing or understanding how other cultures deal with this, and a very valid question, because we have Indian companies led by Indian entrepreneurs or Indian family-based business, and we have multinationals, and I probably representing multinationals, but I also have had the privilege of working with Infosys, which is again a Indian startup. In those days, that's what we're talking about. So I think we have gone through the change. There was a time, and it still continues. It's not like it doesn't continue in places where there's still hierarchical, where there's still assumption that whatever said and done, the boss knows the way and boss knows right. So that's what we go by. But having said that, as Mr. Srinivas said, mine is pretty similar, 23, 24 years of experience. I've seen that change go through. So now it is like I think when I started my career, and I take this as an example, saying that I used to have a boss who used to come back to workplace, or rather he would finish off a training and come in and around 6 o'clock and tell me, Rashmita, can you sit down and just do the analysis of this training or whatever he has done? And I would stand up and say, no, my day is done and I'm not going to do it. And I had the courage to do it at that point in time. And I'm not saying that that was right or wrong. I don't know at that point of time, but I knew I had a personal life outside of 6 o'clock because I had done my work 9 to 6, and that's how I believed in it. But I think we have had the best relationship as a manager and a subordinate relationship. He continues to be somebody who I look up to. That's what I'm talking about. Like, this is Infosys I'm talking about as an example, where there was culture of hierarchy and things like that, which has undergone numerous changes now. But having said that, today I think we are in a world where I don't think even the Indian companies are also going through these changes. They have to, because I think change is the only reality of life. There's no way we can deal with the Gen Z and the millennials and the generation that we are dealing with. Like as Mr Srinivas said, my son wouldn't listen to me. I've got a 21-year-old, I've got a 16-year-old, 15-year-old also. They question me all the time. I'm sure all of our kids have taught us the hard way, saying that there's no more obedience or no more that respect to the age or to the white hair that we used to call for now. So I think it's a change that we are going through. We will continue to evolve in this process, but it's a positive change. I think that's how I look at it, saying that it's a positive change. And when my tenure in UK and US, I have seen that it was easier than when in a meeting set up, or when your boss, you're thinking you're disagreeing with him or her, to go back and tell that. It was slightly more difficult out here. Like for us in India, it's still, and I think it's still late, we find it very difficult to say no. I think that's the biggest challenge that we have. You give a piece of work, everybody will say, yes, we'll do it. Whether they can actually do it or deliver it or not, or they'll meet the timelines or not, nobody understands. But we'll do it. That's the first reaction everybody has. So I think that's one big challenge that we have within, at least that's a challenge that I still deal with in the culture that we are in.
Any other questions from anyone? Yes, I think Sumit has a question.
Good evening, Indians. One of the things that I've been seeing being on both sides of the academic section, also interacting with the corporate companies also, is when you hire somebody, they think their life is settled, they want the iPhone 16, they want the coolest Uber, they want the CEO's chair after 2 years, and then they want to tell you how to run your company. When it comes to Gen Zs and Gen Alpha, if they enter the workforce, God forbid. But how do you manage such multicultural journalism, and what is your advice to students to manage their expectations, and what should they expect out of their first job? Is it salary? Is it learning? Is it working under a good boss? Is it a corporate ladder, corporate career which might help them? Is it future references? Is it network? What should they look at?
Thank you, Sumit, for that question. And again, a valid question for all of you. I'm sure that's how it is. Yeah, we do want the iPhone 16 because we want the most swankiest thing, right? We got the job and I want the best vehicle, best car, best bike, whatever be that a dream for all of us. So I think first and foremost, I would say a couple of things that you need to understand when you get into a workplace. I'm going to say a very cliche statement. You do the good work and the money flows in. Yeah, that's the most cliche way of saying it, but that's the reality of life. Yes, saying that focus on learnings, focus on things which are going to take you that far, focus on networking, focus on how you continuously upgrade yourself, learn, and make sure that you are the best form of yourself. That's what you need to be focusing on. So when you do that, 2 years down the line, you're a better version of yourself. And as a better version, I think economics follows. I don't think that's too much to say about that. It's making sure that you don't stop learning at any point of time. And don't stop making sure that, learning can happen from anybody. It can be a junior, it can be a peer, it can be a senior. It doesn't stop. Like I do still learn every day, even as where I am today, 24 years of my career. So I think that's something which nobody takes it away. And this is something that I also mentioned, like whenever I'm having say an exit interview is happening, or maybe the last working day, or maybe somebody has decided to resign and I'm talking to this individual, I will always talk about saying that, you take these learnings and go and make the next best version of yourself. I know that is the movement, that's what change is all about, and it's okay. I'm not saying that you're going to spend your entire lifetime with the company, because that's not what we are made of. I think our parents' generation, at least my parents' generation, was made of that, but that's not the thing that we're looking forward to anymore. So if whatever you do, you take that, make that as your stepping stone to the next best thing that can happen to you. And once all that happens, I'm sure the money flows. And that swanky car is going to happen, the iPhone 16 or whatever iPhone number will come in, will happen, and whatever is the next thing that you want to have will happen. Yeah.
Give you one more thing. There are even the senior management members today, 12 to 13, 14 years also. So it is not that it is not possible, but I'm sure they might be doing something different from a mediocre or a normal individual employee. So try to understand those traits, learn those traits, how they are differentiators from others. If you can bridge the particular traits, understand those traits and start working based on those things, you can be a CEO, you can be a senior leader. I told you in my lecture also that nowadays, after 50, after 55, it's very tough to find a new job. But at 22, 23, every second year, kids are actually shifting one job to another job. I see surprises where 10 years, 12 years after the 10 years, 12 years of experience with 6 to 7 job hops, their salaries are much higher than what we are trying after 25 years. So it is possible. It is possible. Take a right step at the right point of time. Earlier we used to think that I'm working in the same company since 18 years. People tell, I think like now I've become like a furniture in the company. I'm there. Okay, so that's good and that's bad. But that commitment, that cannot also companies take care of you. But I'm telling you 10, 12, 14 years guys also becoming in a senior desk positions. So think from that angle, what is the differentiators of them? Learn those traits. I'm sure you will be successful. As ma'am told, money flows automatically. And especially you have a lot of money because you will not be married by that time. You will have a lot of money to spend on yourself.
Any other questions from anyone?
Problem with our students is that they are T20 players. We want them to be test match players.
This is a completely an OTT generation. Everything has to be, OTT. It has to be immediate and instantaneous.
I'll just give an example. I asked my son, would you like to go to a movie and watch a movie in a theatre? He told me, no. I told him, who will watch for 2.5 hours? In OTT, I'll watch in 40 minutes, I'll complete the movie. So they want to be quick everywhere.
Yes, I think we have one more question from the audience. Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, so when we talk about curiosity, so can curiosity be developed or rather nurtured in a situation or an environment where there is a strict control on how things are done? Like curiosity comes from within, it's a natural thing. So should we keep it within us or should we open up? And if we should open up, could you like to know how we could do it?
Curiosity is a very individualistic. No one can influence you to be curious or not to be curious, and no one can guide you or no one can actually manage your curiosity. They're up to you. And I feel very honestly, it's my way. The place where you're not enjoying your job, just leave it next day. Don't continue. Nothing forces you. I'm sure there are a lot of other constraints which may make us to continue the work, but wherever you're not enjoying the job, when you get up in the morning, when you feel that, oh, I have to go to office, oh God, if you get that feeling, stop that job. You need to feel excited to work. You need to feel excited to go. You need to feel excited to meet your friends. You're excited to do something. That's where the curiosity comes into picture. Your curiosity will die and you don't love the job. To start loving the job, automatically curiosity will increase.
Thank you.
I'm just going to take one moment and step back, saying that you talked about the money, we talked about what you need to do in learnings and things like that. But while you're doing all of that, one thing which is very key and you can't do without it, making sure of your well-being. I think that goes without saying, because the world that we are in, whether it is health, health is something that you have to take care of. Mental well-being is something that you need to be very, very working on. Absolutely focus on that.
Any other questions from the audience? No other questions?
We want some students who should ask. Let the girls participate also. Any question from girls? Yes, Nidhi. Yeah, there. Good. Round of applause.
So, good evening everyone. Sir and ma'am, I have a question that you all told about mental well-being and having a good career. So, how to balance that?
This question comes to me from almost every college that I visit. So I think one thing which I'll really honestly say is mental well-being is nothing to do about something specific that you need to do. It's about what gives you pleasure outside of your work. So, something that drives you to make sure that, how do I feel relaxed? It could be yoga for you, it could be meditation for somebody, it could be Netflix for someone, for that matter, but within a stipulated period, not going on, over browsing it. But it could be any of those things that gives you relaxation. It could just be a walk for someone. So for the career that I am in, or Mr. Srinivas can also add here, saying that we have very stressful jobs. Our everyday daily life is quite stressful. So how do we make sure that we are having that balance? For me, walking works. So I kind of try to make sure that I get out of the house and take a walk every day at least if not for anything, for 40 minutes. For some people it is yoga, for some people it's music, some people it's dance. It could be anything that works for you. But make sure that you carve out that time from your busy schedule to focus on that, saying that while I'm doing that, I'm going to be 100% doing that. So that you can 100% focus on your work. So that balance is something which comes with, I think it's with the experience that you will realize that what works for you. Because nobody else can prescribe that, nobody else can tell you what will work. Will it be 50-50 that works for you? Will it be a 60-40? I don't know that. But that answer will come from within you.
I'll tell you one simple mantra. What I do is, nowadays people look at your calendars on a Teams or a Microsoft and they think, oh, this time she or he is free, just put some meeting invite. I do what is 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, my personal lunchtime, I block my calendar 365 days. 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock is my personal time. As ma'am told, I am a runner, so I run and also I go along with my wife for a walk and other stuff. Dinner time 6 to 9 I keep myself. 9 to 10 is only 1 hour slot I give to the external world for putting those meetings and everything, because I have to adhere to my US timings also. From 10 to morning 8 o'clock again, completely my calendar shows that I am busy. If you start to have those disciplines, people understand it, people respect it. But if you show that I am available, people think that you are available to take those kind of stuff. That's a very, very crucial. Second thing, corporate side also, there's almost 4 to 5% of our revenue, our income is being spent on the health and wellness of the employees. Means corporates also working a lot of things, like we have a lot of external agencies who comes, who gives a lot of lectures on well-being and all those stuff. So this is sometimes you need to learn, it's your own discipline. end of the day, no one can teach you how to be there. So I think easy to follow, but yeah, it needs a discipline to be doing it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir and ma'am, for taking all the questions and answering them. It's time now to move on. May I now request our student, Affan Ahmed, to kindly come forward and hand over a token of appreciation to our keynote speaker, Mr. Srinivas Rao Katkoor. May I also now request our student, Poonam Kumari, to please come forward and hand over the token of appreciation to the guest of honor, Ms Rahmita Parija. And may I now request our Dean, Dr. Sampri Chakravarti, to please come forward and deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shwanan. Good evening, everyone. It's a privilege and honor to express a vote of thanks for the 13th NJY Yasaswy Memorial Lecture, to cherish our founder, NJY sir, founder of the ICFI Group. At first, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed guest this evening, Mr. Srinivas Rao Katkoor, Human Resources Director, India's SAS Institute, India Private Limited. Thank you so much, sir, for being the keynote speaker of today's function and delivering your address to our students and us. My sincere thanks to Madam Parija, HR Head India Lexmark International Incorporated, for being the guest of honor this evening. Ma'am, your valuable inputs were so insightful and relatable for all of us. Here I am deviating from something which has been given to me, helped by Odidati. Ma'am had spoken about taking a decision of working from home for Lexmark on 18th March. This reminds me, and I was asking Shubhanan, yes, that was the year 2020. The lockdown was declared by the central government. We start our classes at IBS on 16th or 15th of May every year with the preparatory classes. Our semester classes starts from first week of June. So I think it was on the last week of March when the lockdown was declared. So we had time of around 1.5 months. The entire IBS family, near about more than 500 faculty members, were trained in the month of April. In the month of May, staff members were trained. More than 200 Zoom licenses were procured by IBS head office. And we could start the preparatory classes on time on 16th of May, 2020. Our first semester classes started on first week of June. Classes were held on Zoom online classes. Examinations were also held on the pre-scheduled dates. We didn't deviate from the declared dates, because once a student gets the offer letter, the dates are already mentioned there. So, and placements also happened online, and we could place 100% of the students of the batch of 2020. So that thing reminded us what we did, a fantastic exercise. Okay, now coming back. So this event would not have seen the light of day without the constant support, guidance and encouragement of our Senior Director, Pathak sir, who is the guiding force behind all our at IBS Kolkata. Sir, our sincere gratitude to you for always being with us while leading us into the future. Many thanks to all our faculty and staff colleagues for their support in organizing this event. Thanks to our students who have attended today's event. There was a lot of we are not going into the details of it, but there were a lot of exercises. That's the reason why the hall is so full. We are thankful to you. We had fantastic food for thought till now. Do join us for high tea to end this wintry evening with something soothing. before we part today. Thank you so much.
इधर फोटो लीजिए खाने का समोसे खा रहा है।
Thank you.